Alright everyone, hello and welcome back to another episode of Scrap Mechanic with me, Spacefish, and well, welcome our little friendly visitor out here. I was just farming away a while back and, getting some broccoli planted and getting a bunch of that harvested, actually making some food for myself alongside too, and eventually I just saw this guy running away from a hay button panic, and I just had to save him, and now he's apparently decided to stay with us ever since. Just slightly stuck on there, and we've now got a cute little walk over here. Awesome. But yeah, so in the last episode then, we actually got started farming a bunch of broccoli, and I did continue that, as I just said, in between episodes. It's taken me a while, because I did have to, after the last time I planted things at a not too ideal time, I had to wait for another raid to come in, before I could then wait for the raid queue to clear, and then plant, I think I planted like 12 broccolis, and maybe like 10 tomatoes or something, and had like 3 haybots yeet at me already, which is kind of insane, and that was on the first raid, so, kind of worried and a bit of respect here for potentially planting too many of these at once. I think we needed 5 stacks of them, and we currently nearly have 2, so, I'm gonna have to see how many of these I really want to plant at once. I don't know, I suppose everything up until 14 or 15 should be about equivalent to the amount of tomatoes that I put in, because of course I do not have the calculator anymore currently. It is not working. Past that, I'm not sure. And 15 at a time would mean that, well, we would probably need another, well, potentially, I mean, I think it would be 3 times, because, I mean, I would have to do, 17 once and 16 the second time in order to get the 3 stacks that we need in one go. We'll see. Maybe I'll risk it. I'm not 100% sure currently. But I did kill a bunch of farm bots in between episodes too. You can see I've got another 4 component kits from that. I've got a huge ton of tomato seeds and other useless stuff too that I probably need to chuck somewhere, because my inventory is absolutely blasted with things right now, which is indeed quite troublesome, because I'm really trying to keep some space. How did you just go there? Buddy, that guy was literally stuck on there for literally 24 hours in-game time, and the second I start the episode, he gets out of there. I don't know how he did it, but well, there he goes then, I guess. Well, we do not really have that many crazy things to do at the moment, I would say. The main thing still being planting broccoli. I would like to eventually look into defense mechanisms for my farm, but I'm also kind of thinking that I do want to enlarge my farm a bit before then, so that, I'm actually protecting a bit of a bigger size field, and I can maybe also farm a bit more at once. I don't really need it necessarily for the broccoli or the pineapples, I don't think, because, with a bit of farming, in between 1 or 2 episodes, I think it's overall rather easily done, but maybe just to farm bigger stacks of, for example, potatoes or food or something could be good. But yeah, I don't know, I'm not too crazily looking to do the farm currently. I would like to, however, really look back at our vehicles for a few minutes, and I think that's what we're mainly going to be doing this episode, because of course we did get a bunch of component kits. Now, the thrusters we actually both upgraded to level 5, which I actually totally forgot about on this thing, which is beautiful, which is awesome. But we do, of course, have this puppy out here too still, that is very much still in construction. And, well, I think that on the one hand side, we can probably now finally max the engine out, which would be great in terms of, consumption, because this thing guzzles gas like no tomorrow. And while we do now have the oil pump not running out of gas within for 2 minutes of usage is great, and it's actually also level 5. What in the world? How are all these things upgraded way further than I ever thought we had to upgrade at them? I mean, that's great, don't want to make it sound like I'm complaining here. Suspension, level 3 up front, level 2 in the back. So maybe we can push that by one more level. Just given that we're, one way or another, going to put more weight on the suspension, I think that is what we're going to do. And, I mean, honestly, we've got so many component kits still back there that this is really not all too bad. But yeah, I mean, other than that, this thing seems to be very much at a point where we don't really need to care about it. Kind of wondering, is it slightly slanted in your guys' opinion now that I upgraded the back suspension? Do I need to upgrade the front suspension more? Not quite sure. Let me know down below in the comments maybe. I don't think it's the biggest priority for the time being. Just do a quick driving test though, see how it fares with the upgrades. I would suspect and hope that there's not really much of any significant drawbacks, and indeed there is not. Beautiful. So yeah, I don't know. Like, on the truck, the thing is, we've apparently upgraded all the things, so the main upgrades that we can really go for here, I guess, would be all related to farming even more metal, which I do have a bunch of tier 1 metal in here. I'm not sure, however, how much this will actually last. Do I have? Oh, yeah. Just remember that, I put that in there in the last episode, of course, to get some of that tier 1, or not tier 1, but the scrap metal out of the way a bit, so we don't have too large of a stack. And, well, of course, I keep farming a bunch of scrap metal here and there, so maybe we can actually just look at making a bit of tier 2 metal, which, well, we can actually only do later when the tier 1 metal is done, but maybe we'll be making a bit of that alongside for the time being, and, you know, using a bunch more tier 2 metal to advance the build a bit further. I think mainly in terms of the design for the time being, you know, I would actually like to protect that engine properly for a start. Maybe pull down the fenders at the back of the thing too. And, you know, complete the driver's cabin so we can maybe look at doing some doors soon, which I think we will also probably need another controller for, unless I already put another one for that on there, which I'm pretty confident I haven't. So yeah, that is that. Then what I do also want to look at is our miner, because I'm not sure I actually upgraded both of these engines to the max, and indeed I didn't. This one being at level 2, the other one at level 3, so that is honestly quite a room for improvement there then. The level 3 engine being for our drivetrain, I think we never really had much of any issues with the drivetrain being too weak. But we can also probably always use more power and efficiency on the drills, so I think that's what we're going to prioritize. Let's push that to level 3 as well, and I will probably actually pick up another bunch of component kits and push it to level 4, because why in the world not? We have them, we don't really badly need them for anything else currently, so we may as well spend them on that. That should be 8, and then we're going to keep a bit of a buffer on there for like new vehicle ideas that we may have in the near future. One of them, I think, probably then being a a logging vehicle. I think we really want that, because I do really badly eventually want a house. I think I've sort of put off the plans of actually moving super far away, because I've really come to love this area, and I don't know, I just really kind of like it here. We've got the water real close, we've got a bunch of POIs around us, a bunch of warehouses also not too far out, we've got an ember biome, and you know where the autumn biome is and everything, so I'm kind of considering to just move somewhat to over here, but that will mean that on the one hand side, we will need to actually clear out the place by, well, getting all these humongous trees chopped down, which we can't just do with the axe. And we will also probably generally have to cut down more trees, because as I think I previously already said as well, I would very much like to build the majority of the house out of wood, which I think would probably look rather beautiful, but, well, you know, gonna need a lot of wood for a proper house, and probably also a lot of time to build it eventually, but that's another story then. Now, on the other hand side, everything else here should be pretty fine, I think. Not sure about the suspension stiffness that I should apply here. I mean, I feel the base value is probably going to be fine. Everything else out here, the suspension was usually strong enough, so nothing to worry about there. And Pretty sure we don't really need to upgrade the driver's seat. I've never really seen the use, by the way, in upgrading the driver's seat, I have to say. You know, maybe someone of you can tell me if there is really any major use, but I don't know. Yeah. I'm just, like, not too crazily fuzzed by it. Now, the good thing is, if we want to actually make a logging vehicle, which let me just, in the meanwhile, actually get a bit more metal in the queue, we would now actually have a good bunch of parts for it, given that, of course, in the warehouse we got all these level 3 things. We would have a level 3 seat for it, which is awesome. And we would technically even have a level 3 gas engine. Now, the electric engines, I still really don't know what I would want them for. Because especially the batteries, for me, currently are still a bit of a finite thing, while I've kind of got unlimited amounts of gas, thanks to the oil pond, which are also not hard to farm. So, kind of would tend to do a gas engine again, but other than that, you know, it shouldn't be the hardest thing to actually get a logging vehicle underway. Now, the thing is that the only one part of things that we really would actually need to get underway for that, though, is going to be even more metal, because, well, I mean, I guess technically we could also make it out of wood like we did with the other one, but I'm currently not really too sure what is the lower effort, if it's me farming, well, not farming the wood, but if it's me making tier 2 wood blocks, or if it's me making tier 2 metal blocks, given that we do, in the very end, also kind of need to push metal blocks into these, but it's not too many, so I'm unsure. You know, it's also not really the biggest durability drawback, and you do save a lot of weight in the very end. So, kind of considering more this, but that would also mean that I would have to knock down more trees, because, you know, looking at this, we've literally got 31 scrap wood, which is next to nothing, and, well, it's going to be a bunch of work that we would have to pour into that. But with that said, let's quickly grab some of this. Let's actually make some tier 2 metal. Then we're going to do a bit of work on the... Boop. Then we're going to do a bit of work on the transport vehicle. And maybe we just go farm a few trees. I mean, as I already said, I kind of want to knock down the trees all the way out here anyways. So I think maybe that's just what we do. Other than that, like, this vehicle doesn't need any upgrades, right? Just double checking. This should all be maxed. Let me actually see here. Yes, that's level 5 engine. I mean, the controller we don't need to push any further. The suspension is very fine. Yeah, we're happy with that, I would say. So, yeah, let's maybe focus on that. I was just quickly thinking if I actually expected a raid right here, but I think we are very good in that regard. There's a bunch of corn just randomly knocked down out here, which is interesting to say the least. But yeah, these are the trees here that I'm talking about that I do definitely need a logger for, because we can't knock them down with a sledgehammer. Now we could... Oh! Are you there? 2 of them. Get one out of the way like that so they don't push each other into me. I thought I heard the tripling of bots approaching me. But yeah, so I mean, we could, of course, technically kind of go for a somewhat unsophisticated logger and just have like a saw blade on it and get going like that. But I think my goal and idea here really more is to actually build something which can... well, literally more or less just do log a tree in one go. So, I suppose that would be a rather complicated and sophisticated construction. We will have to see about how that's going to work and what mechanics we would use. But what I'm currently thinking is to just have like a sort of a cage around the tree, if that makes sense. And then we have like collectors at the very bottom, saw blades on top of that. The saw blades initially saw off the tree, and then they saw down the first layer, which gets picked up by the collectors. The tree goes down, they saw the log again, tree goes down, etc, etc. So that's kind of my idea, but we would probably need some kind of actual proper mechanism to, well, get the tree into a sort of cage, and the mechanism would also have to be high up enough, and we would probably need some sort of counterweight, I suppose, because I guess the tree has a good bit of weight to it that's actually counted by the game, and once it is cut down, I would suppose that it's actually weighing into the cage, and, well, my idea of that sort of construction would be that the cage is going to be up front. Why is this? What's wrong with this? Forwards? Huh? Why is this literally not turning? Maybe not as bad as I thought. But yeah, so my idea of this construction would overall be that it would just kind of, like the whole collector tree cutting thing would be at the front of the vehicle. So you would need some counterweights towards the back, if that makes sense. Now, well, this is all less than ideal. Let me go and grab the rest of these things, especially the arms and all. But, that being a quick way to collect all the wood we just farmed, I suppose. Friggin' bots. Just sneaking away at me. Guess we just got ourselves another scrap arm. Did we? There it is. Okay. Well, there is the wood, and there is the arm. But yeah, so, happily farming away at the wood. That's the good thing about this miner, to be honest. We can just use it to collect everything we want. I think the whole collector construct that we've got going with it, I'm honestly quite happy with it. I think it works quite well. And, is that another 2 hay bots on the way to whatever? Are they chasing a wok? They are. Go away. Leave the wok. What's in the world? Well, what's going on with the haybots right now? They're just going mad all over the place. Also, why is my drive this way around? Anyways, heading on. Let's go and pick up the loot from these guys. And I think the wok's alive and just ran off in panic, so you should be good. And we've got ourselves even more scrap metal. But I told you all, I was farming scrap metal like crazy. Look at the amount of bot arms we just got from like 2 minutes of wood farming. Absolutely insane. What we should probably also check. Nobody? Okay. That's fine for me. We will just go and swap these through real quick. And, we'll get all the wood ground down and just slowly start accumulating materials for our new logger. I think that's literally our next plan, aside, of course, from all the farming for the new fancy guns, which we're certainly going to try out somewhere too. So you're going to mix in a few POI things and everything, but mainly I think I'm going to try and focus on this. You know, there's always a good bunch of time in between the farming, so shouldn't be too hard to just go and collect some wood there and then and get most of that stuff done off screen for you all, and you know, give you some peace from that. So that should be doable, and then we can hopefully also get to work on that soon. You know, if we get a good bunch of scrap wood together, I think maybe we save the tier 2 metal for now instead of pushing it into the truck, so that we can just use it to make a bunch of tier 2 wood, because well, that way we can get started on the logger, and I think we honestly still need it more than the truck, which is kind of disappointing, because I was really looking forward to getting the truck finished. But right now, I don't know. Like, I was initially, of course, looking to move, for which I needed a truck to get, like, all the things moved around in. Now, it is more, well, I don't know. There's other priorities on the list, basically. The main priority being to make some space for a home here. And, well, to grab some wood along the way that we can use to build said home. So, yeah, I don't know. You know, it's kind of been shifted a bit, unfortunately, but I suppose that's fine. You know, we're gonna get back to it eventually, and we're gonna finish it most certainly. for now, it's really just not a type of vehicle that I would say we need all too badly. So let's go knock down one more tree. Go and be thirsty. Gotta get the tree knocked onto our head. Where do you come from? Oh my god, the freaking haybots. Being constantly jumped as usual. Please don't roll. Stop. Stop. Thank you. Okay. So let me take the vehicle a bit closer actually. Or nearly get stuck. So that we can pick things up a bit more easily and maybe already drive across here once to just go and slurp. And, well, then we'll go knock this thing to pieces. But yeah, so, I don't know, it's a bit of a farming story again, and, well, you know, I would... Whoopsie. Probably... I'm gonna eat the sunshake first, because I do want to ideally use most of those tomatoes for burgers. But yeah, I would, I don't know, probably argue that farming is one of the major parts of this game, of course, because you do need all these materials to get going and to survive in the very end with all the things that you make. But, well, now we're back to farming wood. Yesterday it was component kits and the broccoli seeds and everything, and now it's wood, so, one thing after another, but we're slowly getting there too, and then hopefully with the new logger we'll be able to, well, for one, make space, and also, of course, farm wood at a way better speed, so that actually building a house from wood is going to be a thing that we can reliably do. Of course, that's only going to be tier 1 wood, right? Like, we don't need the biggest durability. It's not like we're going to be hiding crazy things in there, and also, you know, it probably looks a lot better to have, like, plain wooden planks sort of style wood instead of, you know, metal integrated into it. That's more like an industrial look to me, which maybe for some fancy machines may look good, but honestly I would argue for a house probably not quite as much. With that said, well, we were kind of gone, so all this is still working away like mad currently. We've got a good bunch of tier 2 metal, nothing insane, but I would say that should probably cover us through all of the tier 2 wood we need for the new logging vehicle at least, and then, well, afterwards we can see how much we've got left, and we'll push the rest of that into the truck, I guess. But let's wait for 1 second for this thing to pick that up. Cool. Then we'll go and swap these things here through so it can continue right away with the scrap wood, get us more wood, and I'm gonna, in between episodes, get going on more farming and actually getting more wood underway, and hopefully we will then in the next episode actually properly start on building a bit of a logging vehicle, and then we can kind of lay things out and see how exactly we're going to build it. You know, maybe we're not even going to be too far off of the mining vehicle in terms of its design. You know, the initial design, I have to say, I very much like. We're not going to need the middle part as much because, of course, as I said, the collectors are ideally probably going to be up front. So, you know, slight shift here and there. Maybe we just kind of shift the seat back, and then the front assembly assembles the collectors down here, and, you know, the cage kind of builds up from here. So I think maybe the design isn't even going to be far off. I like the current design of our miner, I have to say. I think it's kind of pretty straightforward and sleek, and I don't know, kind of happy with it. Let me know what you think of it down below as well, of course. And yeah, then we're hopefully going to get going on that in the next episode. But for today, let's end it off right here. I hope you all enjoyed it. As usual, if you did, please make sure to hit that like button down below. That does always help out the channel a ton. And if you're new around here and haven't done so just yet, also please consider subscribing right down below, as well as hitting that bell icon to stay up to date on all the future upcoming episodes. But with all that out of the way then, as usual everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I will catch you in the next episode very, very soon. Ciao.